Okay, we're on day 2, block 3 notes. We're looking at parallel lines cut by a transversal. So we'll talk about what all of that means today. We definitely need our statements list, our definitions sheet, so make sure you have that somewhere easy to access. We have these 3 terms. We actually have a 4th term we're going to add to it as well. So let's just jump right into our definitions here. We'll look at them on this page and then we'll add them to our definition sheet in a moment. So first of all, what is a parallel line cut by a transversal? So in this picture here, you'll see pictures like this a lot. These 2 lines are parallel, and our symbol for parallel would be the little arrows that are pointing the same direction like this. Sometimes they're doubled up, so like that. That tells you these 2 lines are parallel to each other. The transversal is this diagonal line going through both of them. Sorry, my laundry just finished. The diagonal line going through both of them is the transversal. So parallel lines cut by a transversal, we actually have a bunch of different things that are true about all of these angles. So our first one is called the corresponding angles postulate. Postulate is like theorem or a statement that we know to be true. Corresponding means that the angles are next to each other in a way. So in this picture, the angles that are corresponding, one example would be angles 1 and angle 5. And what we know is that these are actually congruent as long as those 2 lines are parallel. So angle 1 is congruent to angle 5. Another example of corresponding angles in this picture would be like 8 and 4, 2 and 6, 3 and 7, and you can see visually they look to be the same measure. Another one is our alternate interior angles. So an example of alternate interiors in this picture is angle 5, and that's congruent to angle 4. So here's our alternate interior. I should go back. This is our example of corresponding. Okay, so see how they're kind of inside the 2 parallel lines, but they're alternating, they're on opposite sides of the transversal. And then we have alternate exterior, so on the outside, that would be angle 1 and angle 8. That's just one example. There's more than that. Angle 1 and 8, angle 2 and 7 are also alternate exterior angles. So these ones are on the outside of the parallel lines and opposite sides of the transversal. The last thing I want to add to this list here, we have what's called same side interior angles, and these ones are not congruent. They actually are supplementary. So for example, angle 3 plus angle 5 equals 180 degrees. So angle 3 plus angle 5 equals 180. They're supplementary to each other. Okay, so let's go to our definition sheet and add those 4 statements. So we're going to start with corresponding. So our conditional for corresponding angles. So if lines are parallel, that the 2 straight lines together is a symbol for parallel, then corresponding angles congruent. Our picture, I'm just going to draw, so this is going to take 4 boxes, the 4 letters, so I'm going to draw a really big picture to cover all 4 of them. So that's my transversal. Here's one parallel line and my other parallel line. Okay, so this picture is going through all 4 boxes that we're going to write in. Whoops, that was supposed to be an arrow. Okay, I'm going to draw my little symbol. This is parallel to this guy. I'm going to label the angles 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So for this first one, some examples of corresponding. Angle 1 is congruent to angle 5, angle 2, and angle 6. Angle 7 is congruent to angle 3. Those are all examples of corresponding. Our next one, alternate interior. So again, if lines are parallel, then alternate, I'm going to abbreviate, interior angles congruent. So some examples there. Angle 3 is congruent to angle 6. Angle 5 is congruent to angle 4. Our last one of the first three, alternate exterior. If lines are parallel, then alternate exterior angles congruent. I know it's a lot of writing, but I really encourage you to write it all down because it helps you remember it or remember how to do the conditional statements. So alternate exterior, angle 2, congruent to angle 7, angle 1, congruent to angle 8. And then lastly, we'll do our same side, interior. So that says if lines are parallel, then same side, interior, are supplementary. And I'm just abbreviating here. So in this picture, we can say that angle 3 is supplementary to angle 8, or sorry, not 8, angle 5. Angle 4 is supplementary to angle 6. Okay, there's all of our definitions, all in one spot, so it's easy to find them for proofs. Let's go back to the notes. So let's actually use that information now to determine if these two lines are parallel. So we're wondering if AB is parallel to CD. So let's think about what could be true if they were parallel. I notice this angle here and here. These guys are corresponding angles. So that means they should be equal, meaning 40 should equal 3x plus 2, because those are our corresponding angles. So let's solve for x here. 38 equals 3x. Oh, we're going to get a gross fraction. X equals 38 over 3, which is about equal to 12.67. Okay, well, let's see what else should be true if these are actually parallel. I notice that, what else do we have? These angles here, so EHB and EHA, those form a straight angle. So when I add those, I should get 180 degrees because it's a straight angle. So let's solve for x here. So I have 10x plus 52 equals 180. 10x equals 128. Divide by 10 on both sides. X equals 12.8. So yeah, they're close, those values for x, but they're not the same. And x should be the same no matter what situation we use to solve for it. So we'll say these are not parallel. Oops, parallel. Okay. All right, last set of examples here. Just a couple to get you started for your worksheet for this section. So you'll do these two together, and then the worksheet is more problems just like this one. So it says find the measure of the indicated angle that makes lines U and V parallel. So we're just using those definitions we wrote. I also want you to name the angle pairs as you do this, meaning like use the vocabulary. How did you get that answer? So 130 and then the question mark here. I know that these are corresponding. So that's the name of the angle pair. and then it should be 130 degrees. They should be congruent. And that's it. Pretty simple for these. The next one, this angle here compared to this one, that's our alternate interior because it's inside the parallel lines. So they're congruent, meaning that missing angle is 128 degrees. So the name and then the angle measure. This is a LT. Okay, so you'll do the rest of this in the practice worksheet for today.